Well, DogChamp with Italiano Gangster, they pick AA, the hero that we saw banned out, respectfully so, to cover up their Death Prophet pick. But seeing this hero picked up as what is, well, an answer versus the Undying and the Bristleback, we'll have to see. I feel like many other people are always very skeptical whenever that hero comes back in and comes back out of the meta. But there's a techies also in this game. So love that the cut are always showing us something different. Of course, B God, techies, name a more iconic duo than that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just one of his best heroes. It's like the Skywrath Mage and the Techies. Those are like pretty much the must picks for him. We also saw like a lot of Coddle at one point from him, I think, but
Hmm.
um, nowadays it's pretty much just Techies, Skywrath Mage if he can get them. So aside of DogChamp, they're gonna have to respond to this. We see the Ember Spirit. I mean, this is obviously something that they're gonna be very comfortable on as well. Nico has proven himself as like a pretty capable mid laner, I would say, but he is going up against the side of RCY, and a lot of people may not know who this is. He's a little bit of a youngster in the scene, but this kid's good, man. This kid's real good.
Yeah, he like only feeds to like Quinn, but again, everybody feeds to
Yeah, I
Quinn.
mean
Yeah,
that's like,
that's
oh
like
no, I lost my lane to like the best like mechanical mid laner.
yeah, it's a hard what can you do, but that's also where Stonebank. I mean, looking at him, I feel like he's a player that's had a huge glow up in recent times. I
Yeah,
feel like he
Stonebank,
plays
true.
extremely well. It's also where I think two of his big heroes, namely the Troll and the Ursa, got really good in the most recent patch. I feel like he's like the one guy that he like ends up on Saberlight stream always. You always see him in Saberlight's lane, and you're like, man, he's complaining. Why is Saberlight complaining? He's ranked 4. It's like, because Stonebank's playing some annoying hero that just wins the lane, and then it wins the game, because Stonebank just knows how to win games. And I feel like that's where, on
Yeah.
DogChamp, he's been heavily utilized by B9. I feel like B9 really, like, found a good thing in Stonebank. And of course, Stonebank stuck with him. He's a laning partner for a very good reason. And he's
Yeah.
also going to keep us guessing here because they decide to rush the Invoker pick, justifiably so. Invoker versus Ember, that's your hard counter. No more Flame Guard in the lane. Very annoying to deal with. But also, I feel like Invoker is a fantastic hero. Invoker is probably one of the smallest changed heroes coming across the patch, but the few changes to his talents, to, I think,
Dude, the meteor
reordering a lot
talent.
of the things, it's ridiculous. It has made this hero actually viable. A single change, giving him a 20 talent that makes Meteor do damage. I know,
Dude,
shocker. It's
unreal.
crazy.
When you hit 20 and you meteor anyone, they just take like 1,000 damage right to the noggin. You're like, you just don't expect it. Like it is so shocking how much damage it is. Cause like you just don't really buy the shard until you get close to that talent. And then as soon as you get close to the talent, you're like, oh yeah, it's time.
It's where, like, any strength hero, if you somehow are getting hit by two of them with the shard, it's over. You're done.
Yeah.
You're just straight up done.
And you also have
But
like
that's
black hole and
also,
stuff too to make it that much
yeah.
easier, right? Like you have, I was gonna
Mhm.
say the big thing like in the past, people are like always like, oh, Invoker faces void, you get this cataclysm, but it's like it wasn't even just cataclysm. Like if he was near the fight and he just meteored the chronosphere, like the heroes just die, and so you still have that kind of with the Enigma this game, who's almost guaranteed to be the off lane here, based on the picks. Like we're seeing Marcy AA. I think that's pretty safe to say that we're going to be seeing an offlane Enigma here. And there's not a lot of cancels for it. Like there's no BKB piercing disable at all.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if the cut are really necessarily acknowledging the pick, or if they're just saying, okay, they picked it up early, they banned out the heroes that we want coming from that side of things, so we just are going to move past it. Because even an uncounterable Enigma lane or Enigma game, you still only have one spell. You have one black hole, and that's where, okay, Magnus, that's a little bit different. I think that's definitely going to be Nick's hero, but
Yeah.
okay, maybe that's your counter, but again, that's really weird. And maybe, you see DogChamp group up a little bit more here. But of course, with the Magnus, you got to talk about the Empower. That's something that Scourge is going to have some fun with, I suppose. But yeah, that is kind of out of left field, I think.
I'm trying to think what you can pick here on the side of DogChamp to like really deal with this. Like Magnus is a pretty strong lane hero. Like in general, like he's not the easiest to bully out. So there is, the question is like, do you just pick something that also counters P8 or counters
Yeah.
the Bristleback? You absolutely do. You just pick up a Slark, and this is about almost as good as a Slark game as you can get. Outside of the techie
Yeah.
silence, there's not really anything you have to worry about. Even Magnus is not like a great hero. Like if you get the RP off, because like late game you have Shard, you're gonna have the ultimate, so you have multiple ways to kind of like survive the RP or kind of juke out the hero. So I
Yeah.
like it. I mean, this is such a sick start game.
Only thing they do have to be worried about, and something that they do kind of have, is early on. I've seen the Slark versus Techies lane. Slark eventually does just straight up win, but that's also where there's so much burst damage in that lane, and their bodies are just straight up better than yours right now.
Yeah.
AA Slark is a very fragile lane. Magnus Techies, they've got the straight up stats on you, and I feel like that's where if they try to do too many things, you give up a kill, you lose the XP advantage. That's where any XP surplus is going to make DogChamp's lane look so much easier. But if they do start to fall behind and you get more into that kind of drawn category, that's where Nick can just leave. He can just be fine left alone. And I think that's where you free up B-God to do so much chaos across the map. And that's absolutely what you don't want. Because on this Techies, he always does this in this game as well, where he just TPs to the safe lane carry tower. He just sits there like 30 seconds, doesn't do anything, waits for a suicide, makes it happen. Scourge gets 2 kills, and then the Bristle's off to the races. I just don't want to see that happen because I've seen him do it in so many games.
All right, well, here we are. It is game 1 of our 3rd series. It is the cut taking on the side of Team DogChamp. But we do have a little bit of a stand-in on the side of Team DogChamp. You all may have noticed we have Jubei standing in. He's going to be playing the... is he on Marcy this game? He is on Marcy, right? Yeah, he's going to be playing the Marcy.
Yep.
He's a Marcy gamer. I've seen this guy play this hero a ton.
Yeah, you know. And of course with Jubei, you always talk about you never know where you're going to see him, honestly, on the rank ladder. He's a real agent of chaos. But you are always going to see him, you know? He's one of those finalities, I want to say, in Dota, where you just
I see him in my games occasionally. It makes no sense.
He's a Dota 2 player that fluctuates consistently between 500 and 3,000 immortal rank, you know? And, you know, you really get to feel it all, you know? Jubei's a man of the people, you know?
I was just like chilling, queuing up a ranked game, and what is that? What do I get? Jubei playing with like 2 other like people. Granted, they were you know, not on, I would say, I don't want to say the unspoken S word, but not their main accounts, I will say.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you're just playing, he takes up mid, he plays Queen of Pain, and then 10 minutes into the game, he just says GN, you know? You never know what you're gonna get. It's a real roulette wheel. As the mid D ward, ooh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that feels good.
Yep, and even on the other side of things, prepped his ward to get denied. Does not want to give any chance over, but a little bit some bully tactics here. Unfortunately, though, the cut, well, they've got ahead. I think they've got 3 of the 4 runes.
Yeah, they did. Bigan was positioned all the way down on this other one, so he gets this pretty easily. I think overall, the D ward in the mid, though, is kind of worth losing that. Maybe it's not worth losing the rune, but I'm curious what Stonebank goes for in his like laning stage in terms of items, because like you said, there is a lot of burst potential. They have a lot of like spell damage from these heroes. Of course, you're just going to probably see Nick max the shockwave. B-God just constantly throwing out these sticky bombs. And if you ever manage to get really lucky with a blast off, they might be able to find themselves an early kill. But B9 grabbing the courier there is Stonebank maybe not paying too much attention, or not Stonebank, B-God maybe not paying too much attention to it at the moment.
Yeah, and we'll have to see, because yeah, there's a lot of magic damage. Nice deny from Stonebank, but when it comes down to those item builds, it's always a matter of how long you actually expect to stay in the lane. Do you end up spending a lot on early wands, early oofs, or do you just immediately try to go for your tread, Sage's Mask, and then feel like you can rotate out if that situation does arise? But also where, as long as Bloody 9 is tanking a lot of these spells, and he surely is on the AA, Stonebank really does not care getting right-click. He's got pretty decent armor. He's a pretty robust hero in itself, but that's where if B9 can keep that aggro going, Stonebank's just looking for 6, like every Slark game.
Yep. Mid lane Nico playing super aggressive on the Ember Spirit here, trying to just disrupt the last hitting underneath the tower, and he's been doing a pretty good job. RCY has not been able to grab a single creep under this tower until that last range creep, so Nico might have the CS advantage if he can actually CS under his own tower, but we'll see. Oh, well, I say that, and he just gets oh my god! 2 denies. That was a rough one.
It's tough. All these mid laners are so good at this point, and I think this is honestly one of the most interesting, just skill level wise, lanes to watch. Even though, you know, missed the change, no cares, but just because I think both these players, they are so young, they play against each other a lot. So you've got kind of that two different directions you get pulled in, but that's also where, as we always talk about when it comes to mid lane, once those power runes do get up, the runes aren't yours. Nobody's in a pure 1v1 anymore in Dota. It's where supporting has just evolved so quickly.
So, in terms of the lanes, SMD is super farmed on the Bristleback. He is sitting at 18 last hits. I'm a little bit surprised too, because Enigma usually can punish these like lower base damage heroes, and Bristleback is not a hero with that, you know, has a lot of damage. So I'm a little bit surprised that he, you know, has 19 last hits under his belt, unless some of these are like Eidolons, which I don't really know for sure.
Well, and some of them assuredly have to be Eidolons, right? But I think that's where more so look at Italiano Gangster's denies. He has not really been able to fight for a lot of his own creeps, even though you are getting the free deny every wave. But that's where I think him kind of slacking there is going to be the first problem. And of course, there's a little bit of kill potential here. Maybe once you hit level 5, I want to say in Italiano, you have enough damage with the demonic conversion, but that's where the Undying really stops everything. But mid, big dives.
They're going to go for it. Ooh, B got off the mark there with that blast off. And they're going to try and just get aggressive here onto Nico. The cold snap is there, of course. Doesn't have any real way to go. The tornado just clips him, and Jube is going to be the one that grabs first blood. Beautiful rotation into the mid lane from the Marcy. And he's going to maybe get a second one as there's going to be the rebound. Yeah, there it is. All right, Jube now super happy on the Marcy.
Yeah, and really all of that happens just because Biagod is maybe half a step behind where Nico would have wanted him. He isn't able to connect with the chains. It's so deep underneath that tower, even though that all started because Nico got a really good trade versus the Invoker. But then getting clipped up by that tornado at the end, it's just very unfortunate for him. And a whole bunch of XP now for Jube. I wouldn't be surprised if they look for an attempt onto the Undying now, because that really is that big target top lane.
Yeah, I mean, a part of it, I think the reason that TP came out so fast from Jube is like that ward on the side there manages to see the techies on the other side of the tree line, so they just knew that they were going to go for the dive, and yeah, that just pays dividends.
Now, he was also getting bored. He was just watching Italiano Gangster, just sitting there, you know, just last hitting underneath his tower.
Deny creep.
Might as well do something else for his team, but that's where he's gone a little bit crazy. What's you up to now, Juve?
What's waiting going on for a courier. Over here? Oh my god, he is just gonna take courier. Wow. All right, Juve. Like, this is the thing. Like, how many other heroes would just be like running around the map right now, just like yoinking courier? Oh, look, a freebie.
Like I said, Chaos Incarnate. You know, he's just is there where you don't want him to be, but he's here, and now he's all the way in the bottom lane because top lane is fine. And there is an Undying starting to tail on him. Pingu will eventually catch up here, but that's where I think he unfortunately has arrived bottom in the worst possible time. Because unless they really want to go for this dive, the wave is just in a very unideal position.
Yeah. Man, I really like playing Invoker. I am just not good at Dota. That is the problem. I used to play this hero all the time. And like, he's my second most played hero of all time. But like, I played him, I don't know, 7 years ago, and like that was it. So it's rough. Mid lane Invoker, speaking of which, getting dove here. Does have Ghost Walk if he's too worried. B-God, does he get the snipe? Down to, oh, he has a Fairy Fire and the wand. He might be able to live. Yeah, he is gonna be able to do so. Wait a minute, B-God, be careful here. Uh-oh, he gets the ward down. I mean, there's no way he can go for this. Jube making the rotation in, pulls him back with that dispose. Do they be able to finish him off? They do indeed. Now Pingu, he's forward. He's got mangoes, but not really much left in the tank. B9 with the cold feet, unable to secure the kill, but there is a tornado and an EMP primed, ready to go. Just gonna pop a salve over from the Ancient Apparition, try and heal his boy up. Spear mid lane now needs to be careful. Pulled back. The cold feet's there. These, I mean, he's gonna certainly snap on this, right? Yeah, tornado just end up finishing the kill anyway.
No, that was a ridiculously well-timed tornado there. But yeah, just stuck around way too long. It's in that awkward position, and they punish him for just not being level 6 on the Ember. Meanwhile, bottom though, he got making some pain on a stone bank, and I feel like they should get him. Yeah,
they got him. Not quite yet level 6. And this is what you talked about. It's like you're just playing for the level 6 in the lane as a Slark, right?
Yeah, you're just gonna bide your time, and they make that play knowing that B9 is either outside of the lane, or if they really want to get that A there, they're going to have to pull him there, which is not ideal. As even mid lane, they still go for that kill onto Nico, which is funny because it doesn't seem like it should happen. He's just sitting underneath his tower, but Jubei, on paper, he knows that he wants to punish this Ember for not being 6 yet.
Ember does have that bottled regen, though. I mean, easily dispelled, of course, by an Invoker, but he'll just definitely use his resources while he can. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Lil Nick and B-God will be able to take down Bloody Nine. Stonebank almost hitting that level 6. Just a couple creeps away. Going for the Echo Saber first. So it's probably just Echo Saber Ags, right? That's like the build I've seen a lot recently because it just allows this hero to tank up. Like Diffusal, kind of just this old way of playing the hero. It doesn't really give you enough effective HP to play around.
Yeah, and it's also where Diffusal, it is that, I think, nerf where it doesn't really matter that you get it that little bit earlier. I feel like you would have wanted the extra stats, and it's also where just the addition of counts giving you that way to start. But yeah,
mid lane,
so
Destroyer with a sick tornado there to stomp that blast off, and with that might be able to finish off the techies. He does indeed. They will finish off the tombstone as well. B9 takes clear of that, and now Destroyer with that urn able to help stay on top of Pingu. Just a couple auto attacks. He gets the decay off, but there is a cold snap in one. Doesn't need it. Maybe he's going to save that for Nico in the mid lane instead, and there it is. Yeah, cold snap. Oh, B-God actually lives with the raindrop. No way. Gets him with a sleight of fist. Invis rune. Gonna get that off, but he's underneath a sentry, unfortunately, and Nico just constantly burned down here by Destroyer. B-God coming back with his vengeance as he helps take the kill, and finally, Nico will be able to survive. Gets a lot out of this, has a remnant, TP back home.
I mean, it's just beautiful Dota. It's just easy, and unfortunately, I feel like he got almost everything he wanted out of that from RCY, but then Nico just knows his timer. Lost his techies so early on in that engagement, just simply TP's in. I feel like perfect would have been giving Nico the bottle refill too, but he doesn't care. Gets the remnant TP back. It's just great stuff. Because now Nico's game is absolutely saved. He's even a higher level than the Invoker now. He's completely back.
Yeah. An Invoker, obviously, at this point, you have like two choices, which is to go the Midas or go for like other damage items. And at the moment, he's queued up the Witchblade.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. It's definitely the greedier, and of course, now you have to be actually in the team fights. You have to be there and kind of show yourself, which is always a scary position to be in, but I feel like that's also where he knows that the cut don't have the best reach just yet, especially Nick, who has gone for actually a full mech. No Blink Dagger Rush. He is just looking for, yet again, the numbers. Does not care too much about getting that initiation, even though I think his team is going to sorely miss that type of play, as Stonebank is the one actually getting aggressive on B-God here.
Oh, that's the RP, but of course, Shadow Dance comes out just in time. Skewer will get him away from the tombstone. B9 chased here underneath the tower. Nico certainly will pick this one up with a quick slide of fist. So nicely done there by the Ember. Stonebank just walking back towards his tower. He's like, I still need the XP down here.
Juve's here as well, but the only way they can get this fight going is if they somehow create an opportunity for the Enigma to TP in and hole, but this is crazy.
They're just going to commit everyone. Skewer. Oh my gosh, there's just so much cleave damage. Stonebank goes down. Just a double kill for a B-God. Blasting off into our hearts here.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I feel like all of that is only able to happen because Italiano Gangster is going to have to threaten his own TP, but that was no hole. That was no tombstone as well on the dive. That was just a glyph, and then maybe the fear of not being able to black hole with B-God waiting in the wings and just canceling it, but I don't know. That was just... They either need to get out or they need their Enigma there, and neither happened.
It's not super easy to cancel the black hole with the silence as well, right? You have to land like on the edge where the hero is. You can't like just jump into the black hole.
Yeah, because you get pulled out of it. You get pulled to the, or rather into it. But yeah, I don't know. Big questions, because I felt like that was very passive from DogChamp when they've been playing pretty well, especially to react to what the cut have been doing, but just dropped the ball for a moment there. And now their tower gets blown wide open. They're going to eye up that mid tower instead, but yeah.
They're really baiting Scourge top. B9 is level 6. There's going to be the jump in. The rebound dispose will allow him to snap. The question is, do they just black hole? Yeah, there it is. Right onto 2. Pingyud comes in just for the what we like to refer to as the bonus kill. Nico, TP in as well. Has a haste rune ready to go, and there's going to be quick rebound disposed. That cold feet doesn't snap. Nice sleight of fist to dodge it on out, and Biga with a beautiful jump in on the techie, silencing up 2, finishing off that Marcy. Nico almost died to the Eidolons. He gets him with the sleight of fist, just barely. Sunstrike off the mark. And they finish off Nico. The cold snap is there. The urn is there. He's got one more remnant. He's out on 30 HP, 4 HP after the very last urn tick. Okay, this guy ran the numbers. He's smart.
You get to see the kind of funny interaction as well. I mean, without Lance of Pursuit, he is 100% dead there. That 200 mana came in clutch, but B9 is also fishing for it. You can feel it. At least I can feel it. We'll have to see. I can't imagine he's going to get taken out, but I also kind of want to see Bloody 9 try it anyway.
Do it. Do it, B9. It's a little late. He went for another Sunstrike and didn't find him. But so at this point of the game, we have Scourge McDuck doing what he always does, which is play the Bristleback, try to rush the Aghanim Scepter. He is very high level, very farmed at this point. That being said, Italiano Gangster is actually top of his team with the Wraith Pact already done.
Yeah, and really, honestly, one of the best Wraith Pact games you could ask for. There aren't going to be a lot of heroes getting that BKB early on, so as it stands, those Eidolons are not going to die very quickly. And looking over, a lot of play in this upper dire area here, but looking back to Nick, without his Blink Dagger, at least he has it in just a few more gold, and then he should be able to make a play happen with this team. But that's where Magnus, he's a greedy offlaner. You have to wait for him. He can't really do anything until he gets that in his hands, and then once he does, you have to play around with the long cooldown. So it's one of those kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't situations here. The only question is, are DogChamp happy with how the game is right now? Do they want to just let Scourge kind of take over all of this area of the map and then just get that lead? Because comparing him to Stonebank right now, Scourge is almost 3 levels ahead of the Slark. He's looking towards the Ags. He's farming Ancient stacks, something that, as great a hero as Slark can be, Slark can never do that. He can never accelerate himself that quickly.
No, Slark has to just soak up a lane, right? He can't really afford... This is not a hero that, like you said, can farm the jungle super efficiently, so he just needs to soak as much, like, creeps from the lane as possible, and then, you know, dip out, get what he can in, like, the small camps and stuff. They almost managed to find Scourge there as they invade the dire jungle, putting out some wards there to try and block this ancient camp and the hard camp. But on the other side, the cut is smoked up. They're gonna walk right into Stonebank. It just hits nighttime though, and he gets the bonus vision. Oh, the timing on that.
No, it's very unfortunate. And now Nick with his Blink Dagger, this is going to get really awkward, as well as B-God. That's not where you want to be, but he saw the Dark Pact.
Oh my goodness, so much damage. Stonebank actually has to leave right away. And Nico's looking for more, potentially. Tornado is there. Italiano Gangster with the RP. Will just use it onto the Magnus. Nico, he gets caught by the pounce. 1 second on cooldown, able to get away, but the Tombstone on the high ground is starting to do so much work. Destroyer's dusted up. He goes down. Pingu making it happen. Yeah, you know, we were talking about them having a lack of vision there, but if you just put the Tombstone on the high ground, that kind of solves all your problems.
Yeah, and they even get to clean up Italiano. Now they kind of have to look forward their escape, but yeah, that was really awkward. I thought Nick had the blink. I'm not sure what exactly canceled or maybe even scared him, but he had to go for the skewer and instead ends up being pretty botched because Stonebank just leaps away. He knows what's coming. It's just not the greatest situation in the world. I really don't know what canceled his blink there. I felt like that was the entire plan, and then it just fell apart so quickly. And now
I think
a little bit
Ice
of an
Blast
awkward
might have
race.
clipped him. Ooh, RP onto 2. Stonebank able to get out Jubei. Not gonna be as lucky. Ice Blast off the mark. But they have a high ground ward that does scout him, and Stonebank knows. So he'll be able to figure out where that vision is. He pings it out right on the money. And with that, the space has been made. Bristleback has his Aghanim Scepter.
And now it's time.
It begins.
Time to make your forcing moves. He's empowered as well. This is where pretty much every single time Scourge just immediately walks into the pit. They even Sunstrike it. I feel like knowing their opponents here, because Scourge does this every single game, and Unfortunately, B9 just gets picked off, just gets skewered back. Not much you can do about that situation, but also the cut hit this pretty nice mid-game timing here with B-God having his shard completed as well. And B-God's the scariest hero on the map by far. They need to get another team fight where they kill him off first. Otherwise, I don't think they can really fight him right now.
So I'm curious what you think about this Invoker build, because he has the Witchblade going for the BKB right now. Ooh, top lane. They managed to find the Slark. He's gone, baby. The silence from B-God. You were just talking about he's the scariest hero on the map. Oh, man.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's so much easier to dark pack an RP than it is to dark pack the blast off. You just don't see it coming. You don't expect it. If he catches you in the wave, you're just straight up dead. And well, they were being very patient, but well, we'll take a pick into Roche. This is an AA that should be able to get a pretty nice 3 or 4 man AA blast if he wants to kind of send it preemptively, but that's where I feel like this could get a little bit sketchy here for the cut if they're not careful around this hill area. But that's also where the proximity mines, B-God is making it so obnoxious for them to just straight up walk there. And with that, that's going to be your first Aegis, an Aegis that Scourge is very familiar with. He's got this position in so many of its games. The next question is just whether he can get himself onto objectives before this first Aegis is out.
Yeah. It's that plus like trying to make sure that like this Slark doesn't have a way back into the game, because he's still pretty far off the Ags. And even once he has the Aghanim Scepter, it's still not the easiest game. I feel like it's going to be the item after that that really just dictates whether or not this Slark is able to, you know, take over the game.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, I want to say you would hope that kills would snowball him, but we can't really talk about that with Stonebank right now because he hasn't really gotten to be involved. And I think a part of that is how they just very nicely were able to draw out his lane, the draw that the cut very sorely needed, but also now being in this position where who is he killing? Is it going to be the Undying? Is it going to be Nico? Both of them have ways to kind of circumvent that first pounce. And of course, until the Ags, it is just a pounce. It's where I think now the name of the game is really going to be more so what can Italiano Gangster do than really anything that Stonebank can do for himself. I feel like he's lost a lot of initiative.
Top lane, Scourge and Duck gonna just start beating down this tier 2 tower, and with that one, it will refresh the fortification for the side of Team DogChamp, but it is becoming... Ooh, small play police, missing the tower kill there.
Yeah, but he doesn't care. He's so happy to just be playing Bristle, I'm not gonna lie. And here we go. This is pressure. This is where, unfortunately, now, well, you get your glyph after your tier 3 is claimed, but this is not going to be the prettiest position to be in. And this is all just so that way Nico can kind of push in that mid lane, wait for it. It's where Jubei is also set up to just keep that cut going. But DogChamp, it's kind of time to come back. They're getting those split push plays being made, and I think Scourge will back up once that tower is taken. But you either glyph for free here or you don't. And okay.
Was that like an accidental double press on the blink there? Or like a mini-map press on the blink?
What it kind of looked like.
It did, right? It seemed really strange. It just like blinked backwards like 600 units. I think he wanted to go in and just like hit him with the Malefice, right? Just try and like force a reaction.
Yeah, it feels like they're getting antsy too, because now if you're stuck on your base, if you're stuck on the high ground, Italiano Gangster needs his BKB. You need to force the mag to go for that kind of impossible RP where he blinks behind you and then has to turn it, but very seemingly they just make their plan to tier 2. They push it in, they get damaged, and now, well, we're sitting there watching you awkwardly while the Slark and Invoker try to finish up their items. I think RCY will be able to look at his BKB before it's too late, but I mean, this is just a little too seamless. This is just way too easy for the cut right now.
Yeah, speaking of Slark looking for his items, he actually disassembled that Echo Saber into the Aghanims, and now he's gone back and purchased up a Mage Slayer. So actually really good usage of that item.
Yeah, one of those disassembles we don't really get to see very often, just because Echo Saber is such an unpopular item. Before it was just always the Lance, but
yeah,
now
Lance recipe change, man.
Yeah, because nobody's disassembling their Lance into a Blade of Alacrity. That's just not how it works. It's not useful enough.
Really? That's shocking. They actually are going to be able to get the chain stuns here onto the bristleback. Stonebank jumping in and out of the back lines here. Going to start trying to build up these essence shift stacks, but it's only level 2 essence shifts, so these do not last very long.
And what an awkward spot to be in. I feel like at this stage of the game, or at least the stage that the cutter at, you'd want to say, oh yeah, Stonebank, he's looking for his level 20, he's going to have those stacks, we can't really stick around too long, but he's got nothing. Everybody on the 13. Cut, core-wise, they're just so low level, and I don't know, maybe it's just because the cut do such a nice job of funneling everything into one hero, which is kind of their style, and they smoke up with it. They leave 29 alone for a second there. He's going to get taken down just pretty much
Searing
free.
Chains do it. And
hey,
back to the fight again. Stonebank looking for these heroes. Oh gosh, he commits the black hole onto 3. Italiano, there's the meatball coming on through. They are gone. You're gonna get the res obviously on the bristleback. The BKB from Nico doing work here. Stonebank's got to leap up to safety. Jube's fine as well. And at the start of the fight, it's going to be RCY on this Invoker on top of Ping, who's undying. He never stands a chance. The minus armor is there. And they've caught Scourge as well on this bristleback. Stonebank's up on the front side. He's got another pounce in a second. They hold against all odds.
The mines.
Oh boy, the mines indeed. Goodbye, Enigma. And they've got to be careful. There are more in sight. And Nico goes back in instead. Gonna regret that one. 5 for 2 with a buyback?
Yeah, and that was without Ice Blast. It was the free spell committed. That was just Italiano Gangster absolutely carrying that fight, but also finding the 2 most important heroes. You lose, of course, that RP doesn't feel too much effective as RCY also gets taken down. Okay, found the rest of the mines. Yeah, he found the rest of them. But in that fight, they found the 2 most important heroes. Again, B-God taking out that silence, taking out that blast off. You lose so much control, and I think especially RCY completely focused on Pingu during his BKB in that fight, locked that Undying out of helping any of his teammates, separated the Undying from Scourge McDuck, and then suddenly you realize, I don't have a BKB. I'm on my high ground. Did I kind of stretch myself a little bit too thin here? And you give so much gold, especially over to Stonebank. I mean, hey, he was level 13 before, and now he's popping up almost level 16. That's where you have to be so scared now to play versus this Slark.
I mean, it's all the cores on the side of DogChamp, right? Like, we can look at like just their levels, and you see it quite a bit. Invoker level 16, Enigma 14. I mean, they've caught up completely with the side of the cut here, and it's going to make a very big difference. They actually managed to find Nico here for the moment. The second pounce coming through almost guaranteed, and it does. The Sunstrike off the mark for the 4 staff to save him. He ends up popping the BKB. Is now Nick in trouble. Pops the RP even, but oh, Stonebank misses the pounce. He's out. And with that, they will find the kill there onto the Marcy. Stonebank, 1 pounce up onto the high ground. He's going to get out. There was a fight somewhere else on the map, as it was a trade, it seems. AA for B-God, but it is nighttime now, so Stonebank has the vision advantage.
And he was just placing wards. He's trying to do his job. Gets pulled up on by an Invoker and Enigma, you know. What can you do? Couldn't really do much about that. As well as B-God, in very typical B-God fashion, has absolutely 0 defensive items. He does not care. He is looking for damage and range, and that's all he cares about. Because it's the B-God thing to do.
They found another ward there. Slark kind of scouts that one out thanks to the ult passive. They pick up a Blink Dagger on the Invoker, and he has BKB. Obviously, we've seen him pull that one out in the previous fight, but super aggressive build here from RCY. I mean, I love this. Maxed out Exort now. It's good stuff.
Yeah, in typical Invoker fashion, it always becomes about your Hex timing. Whether or not you have a Midas and a Boots of Travel, you know, before that Hex comes online, that's a different question, but that'll be your de facto way of killing Nico, and that's where I don't think you're really going to see him turn around, look at items like the Lincoln Sphere. There's no other ulterior reason for him to go for something like that. It's where I feel like that timing is going to be huge, but speaking of that timing, we shouldn't even be thinking about that, because the cut, all they're doing is setting up for second Roche. That's their next easy play. That's where I think DogChamp, they are absolutely happy with this game stalling out as long as possible. And unfortunately for the cut, not a very fast Roche timer. Not the slowest, but pretty much as slow as you could ask for if you're the DogChamp. And actually feel confident enough to smoke up now. I think this is just purely off of Italiano Gangster. Yep, having his BKB.
BKB just delivered. Absolutely. This is a big deal. I mean, the Roche not respawning for another, I mean, 2, it's almost a max respawn. This is actually pretty wild. 2 more minutes on that respawn. Dude, look at the chicken nuggets. This is a combo meal right there, man. Oh my gosh. 5 bounty runes.
Just walks away. Nobody's been up here since nobody's been up here for so long. They took the Roshan and then they immediately marched down onto the Radiant high ground. And then it's just been, you know, history
How much
ever
gold
since.
is that? That was what, 81 each?
Yeah, 81 times 5, you know?
Times another 5?
Just your casual.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But look, oh no. Sentry's
it's like-
placed.
Is that like almost 3,000 gold? I don't know. We'll talk about it later. Nico gets caught here by the pounce. Of course, has the BKB. The black hole catches 2. Ice blast to follow. You've lost 1. Can the start keep himself alive? Just barely. He gets the hit onto the proxy mine, and that will be enough for him to survive. Scourge not gonna shatter. Lives on just a sliver of HP. And with that, they will take a 1-0, but a lot of spells committed from the side of DogChamp.
Yeah, and even though they win that fight very convincingly, they're actually able to kill Nico before he gets his own BKB off. That was their super easy jump where, unfortunately, Nick was also pretty much unable to do anything. It was just Stonebank 1v3ing. It is now that situation where 140 seconds before your black hole's back up, Roche is 15 seconds out. That's where the cut could still just flip it, and I feel like DogChamp, they're not going to want to give it up easy, but I feel like eventually they kind of have to give it up. I feel like that's where the cut, they still have to make the play. They still have to march themselves into that pit and be the ones to start it. The DogChamp have no chance of starting Roche on their own, but at the same time, I feel like that's a dangerous situation to be in. The only thing they kind of got going for them right now is that Nick was forced to use that RP even just to get Stonebank off of the rest of the supports, but in doing so, the cut can't just immediately smoke. They don't have that active gamer right now, even though that's absolutely what they would have wanted to do.
I mean, that Mage Slayer pickup has just done so much work this game. I mean, without it, he certainly dies in multiple fights at this point. They smoke up, they're going to walk right into the Roshan like you were talking about. They're trying to play their advantage here. The Jubei is actually going to walk in, actually scout it out. And with that one, the cut have to be a little bit careful. Again, no black hole, but you have to worry about ice blast, right?
Yeah, it's a little tough though. B9's kind of low mana, but that's also where the vortexes are honestly just as annoying. And now it's still kind of begrudgingly being taken, but that's where Stonebank, he's got that mid-wave in, meaning he has an outlet to get back into the fight. He's really not too far out, as well as just still de-warding a lot of the cut's vision. But again, this Roche, it feels almost inevitable. It's just whether or not Scourge can actually keep it in his hands. And DD, unfortunately, claimed by those Forge Spirits. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but now Nico.
They're committing.
Yep, in the pit.
Yeah, doing what they can. The question is, can they finish it off? There's going to be the Midnight Pulse as well. And B9, he's got an Ice Blast, drops it on top of the town, snipes the Aegis! No way! Oh my gosh, he gets the Wraith Pack down as well. Scourge of Duck, that BKB about to expire, and Stonebank thinking of going in, but there is an Ward Sentry here, right? Oh, Nick whiffs the RP as well. Jubei goes in, pops his own BKB, gets the Dispose, trying to just cause some sort of mayhem in. Stonebank gets the pounce, catches onto Nico, pops that. Pops the ulti, trying to walk away. He gets the black hole. It just came off cooldown, holding them in place, but a lot of damage out from B-God on these mines. They have to be super careful. They managed to take down Nico, and that's the big kill that matters. On the high ground, Destroyer chasing for more. He's on top of the Bristleback. Sunstrike off the mark. He needs some more damage in those auto attacks, but he's basically out of mana. Meanwhile, Stonebank has managed to find Nick on the Magnus. He's got another pounce. Doesn't connect, but it doesn't matter. Ooh. It's not gonna matter. Jubei finishes him off. Dude, what a crazy good fight here from DogChamp.
Yeah, and really it comes down to all of that vision from the AA, all of the Ice Vortex. There was never a guess of when that Roche was going down. But then it's the little bit of the greed. It's the not popping the BKB on the Roche kill. It's the not, I think very simply you just got Malefist. But also the AA Blast going in, they needed somebody else in the pit besides Scourge to tank the Roche straight up, and it ended up being Pingu. But then Pingu nearly dies to AA Blast, and then everything goes awry. And then Italiano Gangster just very simply gets his black hole at the end of the day. I mean, you can't ask for a better engagement from DogChamp. And I feel like in that fight and even in the recap, Stonebank's still not doing too much just yet, but he's doing just enough to cause that chaos to get these situations for both RCY and Italiano Gangster to just take the game home.
Yeah. Yeah, looking really strong right now for them. Interesting. So I was actually curious what talent he's going. He went for the black hole damage per second at the 10 talent. Slark mid lane gets caught out, pops the BKB Shadow Dance. He's going to be fine. Huge tornado comes through. Trying to make a little bit of space. And of course, Stonebank, he's got another pounce to get himself away, plus the Shadow Blade. He's going to be more than fine. But they do manage to get the BKB out on the Slark, and that is a pretty decent timing. Jubei now going to get ran down to mid lane. Actually saving him up by Blast Rig, pops his BKB, and rebounds away.
Yeah, a little bit odd, a little bit of hubris there. I feel like DogChamp really don't need to show in waves very much here. They don't have black hole. It's not like Italiano Gangster can kind of pull them out of those engagements just yet, but that's also where I think they were just kind of playing around knowing that Nick didn't have his RP. But now that Nick does have his RP, you can't really be that fast and loose. Otherwise, you could really get burned really quickly. But that's where the cut, they're not down and out by any means. They are still feeling very confident. Of course, they've got the big things to play for still. And even though that previous fight went so poorly for them, BGod is still doing so much damage in all of these engagements, and he is not afraid of anything. Whoop.
All right, 20 talents now achieved on the Invoker. The spooky moment, right? You get the Chaos Meteor damage. I'm curious if he's just going to buy the Hex or if he wants to get the Shard. It looks like he's choosing for the Hex at this point. He's very close to having it done. And I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Just Hex into Meteor plus like Sunstrike will probably kill almost any hero, right?
No, and right, it kills Invoker. It kills as well, I think, the Magnus, which is going to be very important because Nick has not gone for the selfish BKB. He has gone for the more supporty items. He's gone for things that I feel like really BGod is lacking, even though he's going back for his own Force Staff finally. But that's where I think Nick could be 100% that target where you just simply blink Hex, kill him, move on to the next hero, as they're actually diving Nico right now, and he gets the Remnant out and back. But now your Ember Spirit's locked to the bottom side of the map without TP.
Oh, you're right. Oh, no.
This is really awkward.
They get out for the moment, but yeah, that is super awkward. You're right. And with that, they might be able to just chip down the tower. They've got Eidolons and the Forge Spirits. That should be enough damage to finish off this tier 3. It is indeed. And with that, they do have their fortification refreshed.
It's still such a scary spot, though, because now we're in that type of game where when you use your big CD, you have to concede something. You lose something intel. It's where I do think that now RCY having that Hex that we've been talking about for 20 minutes is going to just sit in a side lane, anchor it down, and if Nico messes up and shows for a second, that's your gem gone. That's your free kill on the Ember Spirit. We'll have to see if he decides to remain with his team or if he even tempts fate, because he is not tanky in the slightest, and he just blinked. And he's out. Okay.
I'm trying to think, you know, like what the game plan is here for the cut. It feels like this carry Bristleback is kind of falling off a little bit. It's only a matter of time before the Silver Edge gets picked up on the Slark, right?
Yeah, and then suddenly you don't really care. But also, very importantly, you're getting closer and closer to that 25 where you get that 50-second essence shift duration, and then suddenly you can't afford to take those super long engagements, and they're looking to fight into Techie's Town here. They're going to know immediately that something's up, but yeah, that's where the Techies is actually quite the force to be reckoned with here. It's got that Hex pattern going of those mines. And they can just go top. Yeah, this is also an option. That top lane is only getting pushed out by the Ember Spirit, and the Ember has just left his duty. Again, without TP. So if they go right now, It's the information game, but there's not much that you can do to defend this. It's where you have to do that 180 that always feels really weird, or you have to pose an even bigger threat to your opponents.
And they're going to try. They're pushing bottom. There is no fortification available for Team DogChamp. Meanwhile, they do have one on the side of the cut. The ranged barracks will go down just to the... Oh, what is it? Yep, there it is. Eidolons will be able to finish it off. But yeah, it's like you said, a little bit of a cat and mouse game right now between these two teams. DD picked up, modeled on the Ember Spirit, has the Deso, hovering for a Daedalus. So Nico just wants to be able to just crit down maybe some of these backline supports. I mean, if you're if you're B9 here, it's super sad if Ember sees you. Stonebank, gotta be careful here. Again, trying to play around this, but there's just so many techies mines. There's sentries also placed as well. Makes it really hard to see.
And okay, we're still kind of testing this high ground here. And the game is just starting to really level out. It's where all of the farm is being taken, so nobody is really starting to fall behind anymore. There's still that little bit of a lead, really only coming in from Scourge, but until he gets that Basher, I feel like he really isn't able to stick on anyone either. At the same time, though, I don't know why, but I feel very confident for the cut, and there's the Silver Edge, but yeah, then the Halberd comes out, and both carries have to walk away from each other, and Roche is not helping. Again, this is that middle of the pack Roche respawn timer where, yeah, it's not going to get this game going any sooner.
I feel like all of the Roche respawns today have been super long. And they're chipping away at the top barracks here. But it's not going to be that easy to like commit for this, especially when you have the backdoor or you have fortification still. But they're thinking about it.
Even though the summons are annoying, even if this was, you know, replace Stonebank and put in him up here, this split push threat really isn't that scary. It really is just Nico losing his life, which is, I think, the worst case scenario, and it would happen, but every single time he's been so patient. And with the Empower, there you go. Rax might go down finally, but even then, he's also very hesitant. Everybody is so scared.
Dude, you're playing against the Magnus, right? It's one of those things where you just cannot risk getting Horn Toss skewered into the enemy base. That being said, mid lane, Techies finds out what the Meteor feels like.
And finally, the Hex happens. We get to see the Hex get used after what, 7 or 8 minutes of it being online. But
yeah,
that's where, again, we are kind of in that tiptoes kind of area here, and smoking up without B-God is very brave, but at the same time, they find a pick. They would love to find the Enigma, but blink happens, smoke pops.
They saw the sentry go down.
Yeah. And now be careful, because this is the high ground. They're going to the low ground, and Italian Gangster, he knows where he's standing. And it's a 5v4.
Yeah, they're just chilling. Stonebank comes in, gets the break onto the Bristleback, but he's going to be able to pop that BKB right away. Alacrity even dropped as they even buy back here on the Ancient Apparition. They just want to try and force something. Ice Blast, not going to connect onto anybody here. He just swings right through the fight, but Stonebank, he wants to kill him. He actually double pounces, even pops the Depth Shroud, trying to stay on top of Pingu's Undying. He will get the kill. They get the Tombstone up onto the high ground, and they will have to be able to bring that one down in a matter of moments, but Jube just gets destroyed by Nico. The Sleight of Fist just doing too much damage there.
Yeah, and now 16 seconds on Roche. Of course, buyback's been expended. I feel like we're in pretty much the exact same position we were in the last Roche scenario, but that's also where Italiano Gangster can't come up short. He's got to go big, doesn't have a refresher. He's playing for the Octarine instead. It's where you still only have a single black hole. You still only have a single RP, and looking at that, he got, oh, and the Hex comes out. This is just a free kill.
Has to pop the BKB. He will be able to get the techies. The question is, can they get SMD on this Bristleback? He's going to start building up these stacks quickly. There's Black Hole. It catches too. Nick does not get the opportunity to drop that RP, and the Meteor damage just chews right through him. B9, that's going to be a dieback. Double buybacks on the side of the cut, make it a triple as Italiano in trouble, but there's the Blink X from Destroyer. Goodbye, Nico. He does have that buyback available. The fourth one coming out from the side of the cut. They need to win this fight. A dieback. No, the fifth buyback. Dude, okay. If you can get out on DogChamp, you just did some real damage to the side of the cut.
And they need this now. They
have to
need
get
the
Roche.
Roche. They need everything inside of it. It's where I think now the only player that can really make that hero move is Juve. He's the only one with the BKB. If there was ever going to be another snipe, it would be now, and it would make them cry. But no.
Nah.
Okay. 5 buybacks. At least it gives them Roche, right? That is about as bad as you could have asked.
The Aghanim Scepter as well, which goes onto the way of the Ember Spirit, which is huge this game because Nico now has that much more reach for these backliners. So, yes, they lose 5 heroes and force 5 buybacks. They do get probably the biggest Roche of the game.
No, for sure. And you get your head above water, and you get your carry onto that most important third Aegis, where now you can get back to sieging a little bit. You can get that initiative inside you. You can actually plan their high ground, and they can't just black hole Scourge, but they haven't been even black holing just Scourge. I think the only reason that goes so well is because, yet again, Nick shows for a sliver of a second, and that's all during nighttime as well, which of course plays into what Stonebank can do. And well,
oh my
Pingu
goodness,
does so much damage, but there's no RP because he can't do it. It's the counter that still is just eating away at Nick.
Oh, quick little DC into a pause. Dude, I mean, the damage from the Slark is getting very scary, right? That Silver Edge burst plus the Bloodthorn now completed. They do have plenty of save mechanics like Force Staffs and Glimmer Capes, but at some point, I feel like he's just going to have like he's queuing up Basher. I kind of like the idea of going Basher into a Nullifier, but a lot of people still like having something like Scotty just to tank you up as well, but we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like he does need a tank up item. I honestly feel like some lifesteal would also do him some favors here, but that's where I think he's also just relying so much on sidekick, right, from Juve,
Yeah,
and it's
sidekick
kind
and
of
the
getting
Wraith
him
Pact
over.
Aura, right?
Yeah, it's very, very nice, but oh man, I can't imagine. Really, only Scourge is safe at this point, though. Anybody else goes down, I feel like that's where the cut. They're gonna try and utilize this Aegis almost like a farming Aegis if they can. If they can just get big items, Aeon discs, BKBs, honestly even more Force Staffs could get them in a slightly safer position. But right now they do have to play that waiting game, and unfortunately, looking at some of the other defensive itemization they're going for, and Nico feels the need. The single-use Lincoln Sphere just for the Hex, because it is that much of a problem that they really can't afford to deal with.
Oh, is he going to get it
now.
in time? Dude, he's really scouting. He might find Nico here. Right before this Lincoln's comes out, it would be absolutely massive.
He doesn't want to clip on the wave
The Remnant
with the Ghost
comes out,
block.
though. But he is safe back into the mid lane instead. And with that, the Lincoln Sphere is going to be delivered, and he is much less worried about this Invoker running around the map.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a tough spot now. Is Nico okay? Okay.
Top lane.
The DD rune.
No. Slark might be in a little bit of trouble here. Has to pop the ult. The BKB even comes out. The silence coming through, but again, he's protected by the BKB. They may not have known. Depth Shroud into the TP. Stonebank is going to be safe. They end up forcing a lot of TPs, but they also forces the entire Slark kit. That was every single spell he had. Nico.
Now, with the Lincolns.
Oh my god, that DD rune. Alright, Destroyer, instantly BKBs. The Tiny Gangster on the side just gonna blink on out. We do not want to take this fight, but Nick, he gets the skewer. He actually finds RCY on the Invoker. He's got nothing to save him. Drops the Meteor. Woo! Nick, does he burn out to that? He does.
So dumb. And Nick keeps on giving. They get the other hero. They get the Enigma who didn't want to pop BKB because he has buyback.
He gets Juve. Oh my gosh, the double slide of fist. He's gonna chase for... Okay, Nico, excuse me? Stonebank into the base, though. Gonna be able to trap Nico in place. Does he have the damage to keep him down? He pops that BKB, and he's gonna be okay. Double buybacks coming through from the side of Team DogChamp. Marcy bashed up. Oh my god, an ultra kill. Okay, sometimes you get first hit bashed. What can you do? And now they're looking for the Enigma. He's got to be careful. There it is, the black hole, the BKB, just right onto this Bristleback, but he's got an Aegis. He has to blink out instead, and now Stonebank on the front line, trapped in place. He's dead without buyback. Did the cut just... Did they just win?
Well, he's pinging it out. They've already got the top racks. Scourge is screaming. He's saying, guys, it's over. We did it. What's going on? And they'll, yeah, switch their focus. He almost wants to die now. I'm bewildered. But they got everything they wanted. The Black Claw and the Aegis Carrier, it doesn't matter. It's an irrelevant factor now. And if they don't get everything out of DogChamp, they're going to know something's up. I feel like they could also just settle for Megas, but I mean, what a terrible position to be in. Invoker's surely going to cause some issues in 10 seconds here when he respawns, but Nico just put the game on his back. He just did everything.
Dude, like I said, you know, that was the most important Roche of the game. They got everything. The Aghanim Scepter on the Ember Spirit there absolutely destroyed the supports on the side of Team DogChamp. Like, they just couldn't do anything. Now there's just nothing to stop him. Scourge still has this Aegis for another 20 seconds. He's going to back off now and get that full regen in a moment. But they're just trying to finish this off, get themselves mega creeps. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Well, Nico, he's going to try. He thinks about it.
Yeah, and still have to be really careful. Buybacks are still in not a great spot for the cut. It's still 2 minutes out before they're completely safe from just losing this game. But again, the double slight. That's another BKB forest. And the racks are being taken.
Nice
They're
blast.
going.
It catches Bristleback, but yeah, they are going. They're trying to find the Ember Spirit here, but he gets the remnants on out. He's going to be safe. Mega creep secured. Can they keep chasing, though? Stonebank, he's trying so hard. He's trying to get on top of the techies. Italiano has to BKB because of the mines. And B-God, he's protected. Oh, he finds him! No way! Italiano's dead! Okay. B-God is on a whole nother level right now.
I mean, even then, you see the mines. The mines are doing, what was that, 1,600 damage? The first mine doesn't do too much, but it's the consecutive ones that end up hurting you so much. And then, well, your Enigma's dead without buyback. Your Black Hole is gone. Your Mega's right now as well. I would not be surprised at all if the cut don't just march up as soon as they feel confident or even a smoke comes back, because all it takes is a blink RP onto a hero like the Invoker, and the game's over. You're done playing. You did it. And right now, even being so stretched out in that mid lane, this is terrifying. What are they? Oh.
Okay, well, Death Shroud Forest, a long cooldown out of the Slark indeed, so he needs to be a little bit careful here. Stonebank does manage to find Undying, but Ghost Scepter again, going to be able to keep him alive. Just forces that one. There's going to be the Golem. The question is, Tombstone up onto the high ground. They want to play with the vision advantage. Slark forced to ult immediately, but there it is, the RP. They find the Invoker. He's dead. You called it, ET. They're looking for more.
Oh,
Nico's not done. The damage is just way too overwhelming. Stonebank dies with everything. And that is it, man. The cut win game number 1.
I'm waiting on the edge of my seat. I want to see the win probability. I want to see what happened. Because of course, you get that situation. You get 5 buybacks out of your opponent. It's everything the cut needed to do to get that third row so they could get any initiative in this game. And then Nico kills you with the DD rune. He kills 3 heroes. He kills 6 heroes. He kills everyone. And then you don't press any of your buttons because your mouth is just still open from getting killed from before. It's just like, I don't even know what happened. I don't even know if they know what happened. And of course, yeah, win probability is a nosedive. It is a complete turnaround because that doesn't happen.
It's like crazy. Like you see the quick jump there, like right after Roshan, like right after the big Roche fight, and then it's just like Nico solo carried this game. Like at the end, he just single-handedly destroyed the side of DogChamp here. That was absolutely wild.
Yeah, and of course, you know, you look back and Nick, he got the initial skewer that brings back RCY, but why does RCY not have his BKB? Because Nico's being a psycho on the other side, getting the chains, making them get scared of him because they want to kill and get these diebacks on cooldown. But then nobody on DogChamp has buyback. Everybody plays like the next fight's going to be the last fight because they have that lead, they have that comfy position. And really, at the end of the day, well, Nick, he didn't have to land many RPs, but all he ended up landing was 2 or 3 at the end there, and then we're done. Next.
Get RCY. Worked out well. I mean, super sick game number 1. Really excited for game number 2. We're going to be going to a short break, and we'll be back with our 6th and final game of the evening, everyone. Again, this is the BTS Pro Series Season 12. We'll see you in a bit.